by after 11 and we haven't started. And the reason that we haven't started and it's after 11 is because Jamie didn't walk away. You didn't leave, so that's when I knew it's time to begin.
This was a part of the Bible study this morning. It was about the prodigal son. And just before the team meeting, I like to look and see if there's some newbies, people, and they're kind of looking around, talking. I just want to make sure they're all.
That's great. I love that, man. And that's how I know it's time to go.
Isn't that nice?
It is nice. It is super nice. And it's super nice to have everybody here.
Jason, why are you wearing that jersey?
That's a great question. You may see her. You may see her later. Today is Kelly's birthday, and this is Kelly's birthday shirt. And if you don't know why it's Kelly's birthday shirt, you'll think about it and eventually it'll come to you. She's not a Bears fan, I can tell you that. She doesn't know who Ryan Urlacher is at all, but there's probably some significance.
He's a linebacker fan?
Probably, that's it, Jamie. And I did verify that it was okay that I put this on a billboard. So, and I didn't say she approved it, I just said I did ask, right? That's what we do sometimes.
Is getting a massage, right?
She is getting a massage, that is correct. Because that's what you do on your birthday. And you eat a cake that I cooked, which is gonna be the end of her birthday, literally. No, that'll be the end of it all, right there.
That probably works out, 'cause that's the highest number of shirt you got.
That's cute.
No, but that's not, well, that's, you know, it's her birthday, and just, that's a good reminder that you guys are the cog making machine. So how often are you taking time out for yourself to take care of yourself? Well, don't need to wait for a birthday to do that.
No, you can make cogs any day.
Yes, good. Thank you for being cognizant of that.
Yeah.
So.
Your volleyball friends have felt bump set spike.
We pull up brothers today.
Don't embarrass.
Oh, you ain't kidding. Well, hey, happy tax day. Isn't that great? Yes, it's tax day.
That's how you know it's Kelly's birthday.
Every year.
How many of you are done with your taxes?
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty good. How many of you just say October is already a scary month? Why not do it then? Yeah. Okay, good. It was funny, not funny, but Bible study also talks about tax collectors. So that was kind of interesting that today was a tax collector. And Jesus even met with them. So if Jesus can meet with them, I suppose we can too. Right? It's interesting though, there are people who are really passionate about, you know, not just taxes, but you know, the system that we all are a part of. And I actually have a couple of friends who actually pay more in because they believe in it.
Taxation is theft.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, that's okay.
That's me. Let's move it on.
All right, we'll move on from that. We'll move on from that. If you're looking for any last minute write-offs, our jokes don't count as write-off because they don't make much sense.
Just can't stop. You just can't stop. You just can't.
Hey, I just want to start off by recognizing our sponsors. And this week, we had the April cereal bar sponsored by HHG. Let's give them one big clap. And a few extras. Coffee time. Signature Home Services, April and May. So let's give 2 big claps. They know you guys are busy.
And you like coffee, apparently.
And you like coffee. Breda Homes, this was a blast. And we had 2 major sponsors, One Day Painting and Signature Home Services. 2 claps. Now, if you're on the tour and you didn't make it back, raise your hand. Okay, success.
Oh, there we go. We won.
We succeeded.
Won.
Was there one?
Won. No, we won.
Oh, we won. Oh, okay, good. But we don't want to leave the one of the 99 behind.
No.
That's not a joke. That's just, come on, we gotta take care of each other, right?
One day painting, man. One day painting.
One day paint. And it's important to us, okay, so vendor, who do you know for vendors? Average agents sell homes, top agents solve problems. So the leadership team is upping this game with our vendors. We ask you who would be some good people that you know, and just let me know, either text, email me. so that we can continue this program growing and giving you more options for your clients. We really appreciate that.
Jamie, I've got an idea for a copywriter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what.
Oh, I didn't think he would actually read it. This is AI.
What's above that one? The chimney sweeper.
What
Like
about,
right above that.
yeah, and Marissa office.
A real top agent.
I'm glad somebody said something, because I thought it was my eye cup.
It was
I
not.
was like, oh, I just can't see anymore.
It's all good. And that's how,
I didn't think it was on long enough to do this. I'll just wait till you guys. How about this? I'll email it to you.
but at the end of the day, we do know a lot of vendors. And I'll tell you, if you're ever on our Facebook group, you know that the most common question is, hey, does anybody know a guy who does a thing in the place? And it would be wonderful if our preferred vendors were some of the answers from time to time. They contribute a lot to our market center with the idea that we will, on occasion, talk back to them. So that's a great way to make sure that we're out there returning the favor that they're returning.
It just happened yesterday. Yesterday we had an opportunity. Someone needed something in Albert. And our home story visuals, who spoke a couple weeks ago, popped up and said, I'll take care of that. So it's not really his area, but he wants to take care of y'all. So that's great.
Them dots.
Well, this is an exclusive club, and as you know, Olivia, her travel schedule, it's not hard to access her. She just goes to everything that's hard to access. Am I right? It's really hard to get spelled wrong. Is it really hard to, that's because your picture and it was fake. I don't think you really went there, but this is the hardest event. And with event within the event to get into it, she got to do that a couple weeks ago, and that was awesome, right? Good time. Where were you yesterday?
Austin,
And where at?
KWPR headquarters.
Giddy up.
Where was I the day before?
Oh, the day before, giddy up.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Well, I think you can see the theme.
Gary Keller's ranch.
Oh, wow.
Was he aware of this?
He's not there, but he had 150 of his friends there.
Nice.
Is that the
Yeah.
house?
That's exclusive.
How do you know it's Gary Keller's house?
You must ask that question.
I had to ask. Well, I didn't.
No.
So things are getting so exclusive for her. Things are getting so exclusive for her that next week her and Colin are at the imperial level. It just keeps going up. And we're excited in a couple weeks to see your Met Gala costume. That would be great.
I know, right?
Jamie, we want our new MCA to come back tomorrow. So can you just cut all this? We want her to come back.
Let me restart. Okay, so we started this. So, all right, well, and just again, I do want to thank her because we're talking about exclusivity. Well, this is an exclusive place here.
Press a button.
Stand by.
Press the button. It's good. Keep talking. Oh, well, just stand by. So, this is an exclusive client. And speaking of that as well as is we are partnering. And the announcement a little bit later in this meeting is that we're partnering with a company that is exclusive to KW that is going to help us. How many people here want to win more listings and attend? No appointments? You guys do? Good, okay. 3 of you. And of those listings, how many do you just hope that they overprice? Okay, then stay tuned. And speaking of staying tuned, let's bring it up for our new MCA.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I'm the new MCA. A few fun facts about me. My parents are both deaf, so I'm fluent in ASL. So that's cool. I have 2 kids and they're super awesome. Lily and Adrian. My son is in track and wrestling, and so that keeps us busy. And my daughter is a Spitfire. She keeps me on my toes. So, yeah.
And you live in?
And I live in Lakeville.
We still have one more. Okay, we need to help her. So first of all, thank you, Olivia, for not settling. This, again, this is an exclusive club. She cares so much about you all and the leadership team as well. So she didn't settle and she really got someone who is exclusive. So thank you, Olivia, for that. And because of that, she needs to learn this. So let's everybody help her, okay? We start with this word, just so you know, and go down to these words. We don't read all the in-between ones. Okay, ready? Our values are
Culture, integrity, impact, growth. Hallelujah, we take the oath.
She didn't even peek. Good job, thank you. All right, put it up. Someone, speaking of someone who lives these values, we have, let's give it up for Jason Homa.
Got the best name.
Okay. Yeah, Oliver's a great name, yeah. He's got the great initials. So Jason, those of you know, first of all, it's really cool because when I get here in the morning, it's either him and or Krista that are pulling in right after me. And we get the coffee ready and we have some good talks. So Ollie is all in, Jolly, we call him too. And he won play of the week because on Good Friday, he had 4 listing appointments and got 4 listings.
Oh.
Very impressive, a whole Easter basket full of them. That was really cool. But it speaks to his professionalism. He's in every class. He does everything that HGG asks and offers. And the other part is he's just so generous. There's so many times you can walk by one of the rooms and you can see him sitting with a newer agent and their clients. And he's just doing it for them. Am I right, HHG?
Right.
Thank you. Is he still helping you a lot, Zach, in that regard, or have you figured it out now? Okay, good. Well, I hope most people don't know what they're doing as much as you don't know what you're doing, because you're pretty amazing. So, for those of you who are new, we honor this play of the week every week because we got some incredible people in here. And we just want to make sure you know who you are working with. And it's pretty impressive, you know, to work with people like y'all. So now let's see. Oh, speaking of great people to work with, let's bring up Brian.
All right. I've been talking about non-QM and I want to switch it over, especially in today's market, spring market. If you've got buyers and you're making contingent offers, it's just a tough nut to crack. Although maybe this year, I feel like it might be a little bit easier to make a non-contingent offer than it's been in the last 5 years. But still, you can be banging your head against the wall trying to, showing houses and making contingent offers. So I want to talk about how can we get those buyers into being able to make a non-contingent offer. So I'll be talking about a few things, but I'm going to start, and several of you have heard me talking about it, but there's a lot of new agents here. That is our NAFCASH program, where we're turning our buyers into cash buyers. All right. So they can make a cash offer instead of a contingent offer. Now, not all buyers can do that, but there might be a lot that can. And I'm going to play a quick video. I'm just going to advance it here.
Nowadays, home buyers face a lot of challenges. From finding a great home to placing the winning offer, it can all be overwhelming. We understand that not everyone has the resources to make a cash offer, and that's where NAFCASH comes in. NAFCASH provides the homebuyer the resources to bid with confidence by bidding with cash. We purchase your new home with our cash, and once you secure financing, we sell it back to you at the original purchase price plus the service fee. It's that simple. Making a cash offer increases your chances of landing that perfect home without having to worry about selling your current home first. NAFCASH charges a service fee, which will either be a percentage of the purchase price of the new home or a flat fee based on the purchase price of the new home and the state in which the new home is located. The service fee is added to the purchase price of the new home. As the buyer, you will be required to put down an earnest money deposit, or EMD, based off of your purchase price. You will also be responsible for HOA, rent back, and utilities payments. An evaluation is conducted to determine any potential appraisal gap. If you offer more than the appraised value of the new home, you will have the choice to add the difference between the appraisal value and the purchase price to cover what's known as the appraisal gap. And really, that's it. You could potentially save thousands of dollars by buying your new home with cash. NAFCASH. Get your offer accepted and enjoy the flexibility of selling your current home on your own timeline. NAFCASH, your key to unlocking the door to your dream home.
So you might be able to save money because you're making a cash offer, NAR says those cash offers are, maybe you get it for less because it's cash, but really, we're just trying to get a seller to say yes to our offer. And if it's a contingent buyer, unless the home's been sitting there for a few weeks, that's tough. And so.
We're gonna figure that out. You.
Might need to grind to the end, there's probably about 5 seconds left.
All right, Jamie, run your thing. We get that out of the video. I'll try that.
There we go. All right, so. There's various buyers who actually could qualify to go the NAFCASH route. Okay. All right, so, back to, you can, it's a way to, get your buyers qualified to be able to actually have a seller say yes. You get paid on when NAFCASH buys the house. So basically, you're making the offer for NAFCASH. NAFCASH buys the house, your customer moves into the new house, and you're working hard to get their old home sold. When they do sell, and they're sitting on 150 grand of the equity, after you sell it, they buy it back from NAFCASH, all right? So the key there is we don't have to count the payment on the old or their current house. Now they can qualify to purchase without selling, and that's the key, or they can make a non-contingent offer. First-time home buyers, I've actually never done a first-time home buyer, but if they're sitting on cash, like let's say 30% down or 20% down, they can actually make a NAFCASH offer, which cash offer might be more attractive than, hey, we're doing a 20% down financed offer. All right, so there's potential even for first-time home buyers if you're really grinding through not getting offers accepted. They're leveraging the cash offer versus down payment and a financed offer, even though it's non-contingent. VA buyers, not necessarily in our market, I don't see it, but there are markets out there where sellers aren't taking VA offers because they're worried about appraisals or other things coming up with VA buyers that maybe aren't on a conventional loan. But here's the key, the customer doesn't qualify to buy without selling. They don't qualify debt ratio wise, they have both mortgages, all right? So their solution is, NAFCASH buys the property. Then they move in, you get the home sold, and then they buy it back from NAFCASH. That's basically the process. Really, the underwriting, I'll get somebody's documentation, is just like any old underwriting and approval. We'll get them approved, but it probably another 2 days to run it through NAFCASH to make sure that there's equity in the whole home. Somebody's got a 300 grand home, they owe 290. They're not going to qualify for NAFCASH. They typically need about 30% equity in the old home to have the NAFCASH program work. Okay. But yeah, that is really, that's it. It's just another tool in your toolbox as far as, finding ways to get your buyers, the seller to tell your buyers yes on the house. Any questions on that? Yeah.
What's the cost of roughly doing that?
Yeah, so the servicing fee is 2.3%. All right, So,
What?
the new purchase, so if you buy,
Price.
yep, so on 400 grand, we're looking at almost 10 grand
Okay.
as the cost that can get rolled into when you buy it back from NAFCASH. But there is a cost to it, but in theory, you can get them to, you can get less, or you have to pay less because it's a cash offer. But, if you're really being competitive, I don't know if that's the issue, but the issue is to get them to say yes.
So,
Yes.
So the house is in their name,
So NAFCASH buys it.
right? So they're buying it as, so like it's under their like LLC or something first, and then it closes as that, and then
Correct.
okay.
And it can close in 10 days. It's cash offer.
Right.
So that's also an advantage to the sellers. Often the sellers can't do it, turn it around that quickly to close in 10 days. But yes.
Oh.
And then they'll end up buying it. So you're basically writing two contracts at the same time. One for NAFCASH to buy it, and then our customer to buy it back.
That makes sense.
Don't get paid on
Is there a time frame that they have to sell their house that would have created the contingency?
So they would like the property to be listed prior to the NAFCASH purchase, but it's technically 90 days, need to get it listed.
Okay.
But obviously, you're already halfway through that process already, and because there is a rent back feature for the customers, if they're in there for 45 days before their old home sells and they buy it back, there's 45 days of rent. Roughly, depending on the purchase price, but rent is about $4 grand a month. Okay. And so it'd be $6 grand of rent if they're there for a month and a half. All right.
Great, thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, let's give it up. You've been somebody's truck. And speaking of someone with a contingency plan, let's bring up Patty.
Hello. Okay. Coming up, we have the, we have the PQLP workshop on April 23rd, next Friday. Upcoming events, we have Agent Appreciation Day, Red Day, and the Agent Headshot event is tentatively June 11th and 25th. Grace is working on firming that up. So, like I said, we have Be Wealthy. I just checked with Olivia. There's 10 spots still available. So if you're interested and didn't grab one of those spots in the 10 pack, you can still sign up by scanning that QR code. May 6th is the Agent Appreciation Day, as we usually do. It's here at KWPR. We will have the coffee carts, and then we're going to change it up just a little bit. And it'll be a day appreciating all of our agents and everything that you do and are in business with us. We are offering some last minute CE. I know some of you still need CE. So here are some 2 credits of free CE that is being put on by Branch Property Investigations, one of our preferred vendors. They're doing an inspection report and negotiations class, and then solving the mystery of moisture. So if you haven't had those in the last 2 years, make sure to look at your CE transcript. If you need help looking at your CE transcript, please let me know and I can help you. But those are 2 free classes, so make sure you get signed up for those. It will be here in the training room. And then Red Day is coming up. This is being heavily led by our culture committee alongside Grace and I. So I just got an update from Sarah yesterday. They met as a committee and they're working on finalizing what we're doing as a market center. We're trying to see if we could do things in shifts this year to make it a little bit more workable for some of our agents. And I don't think we'll be doing yards this year, but we'll let you know. There will be also a happy hour to follow. More information will come out on that. We're hoping to have a finalized game plan by next week. So stay tuned.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks.
Give it up. Thank you both. So yeah, that Red Day is amazing. This office really turns out strong and yeah, I think it really got started big time with Mr. Rawl. So thank you for having this be such a a big part of our community, so. It's the only company that does this, where they shut down the entire company and just say, hey, go serve. So, here's what we've been talking about. It's called that we have a partnership with ChartMaster. Now, at the beginning of the year, we were presented with a couple opportunities. One was to free CE, which if you don't know, you do have free CE. And we were presented with ChartMaster. Now, whenever those opportunities arise and there's a cost to it, we bring it to the ALC because it has to do with profit share, and we want to do what's best by y'all. And again, I love that this company is run by suits in living rooms and not suits in boardrooms. That would be boring. So what's been a problem that we've had? A problem that we see out there anyway is overpricing. How many people here have a home on the market right now that's overpriced? Anybody? It happens, right? We think, okay, we'll go with this amount, or maybe we don't have the skills to be able to show them and help the numbers articulate for them. Well, we have a gentleman on the line here soon that we'll get to named Jeremy Trask. He's going to walk us through what ChartMaster is. And ultimately, it's an opportunity to not only win the listing like it says, however, it tells a financial story right in front of them and walks them through that why overpricing it is going to hurt them, not gain them money. So ALC has voted to have it be a $5 a month addition to the tech fee. And let's just bring up Scotty to tell the whole work. Scotty, will you come up and tell us ALC?
This is called not being prepared. So I'm super excited about this. Anyone who's ever been to my ABCs of Agent Financials, you know that I always say numbers tell a story. And I'm really big on trying to get your P&Ls and make sure you know your numbers. This is what we can use to, I think, set us apart and create the standard in the industry. Because I don't know about you, but when I go on listing presentations, if it's like my best friends, they trust me, they know that I know the market and they'll listen to my suggestion. But when you're building relationships with new clients, sometimes you feel like a salesman trying to convince them, no, your home is not really worth 600, it's really worth 550. And you potentially could lose the listing appointment because somebody else is probably throwing out a price that they can't support, but it sounds better. So they win the listing and then you watch it from the sidelines go down in price and sit on the market until it's either canceled or price reductions. So what I love about this, and the presentation says a lot of it, but I love that with facts, you can sit in front of somebody and compare to them. If you list your house at 600, I believe that's overpriced. You're gonna have to be on the market for a certain amount of time, and it goes through. It has market data that will prove for you. It's not just your word, it's actual data to prove. Most likely it's gonna sell 80 days from now, after you've dropped the price 25,000, and we probably end up taking an offer that's 10,000 below that. Or you start here, sell it within a week or two, and then you can show them, here's what you would net if you listen to my advice. And if you want to try it the other way and overprice it and we have to reduce it, here's what you'll net. And those numbers tell a story. So I'm really excited about the ALC. When we saw this, there were several of us in the room that were like, I'll pay anything, and not literally, but so to get this for, did you say 5 or 50? Yeah. So for $5 more a month, and we don't ever want to increase any fees around here if we don't have to, but we feel so strongly about this, that this is going to be a tool that we can all use. And it's not any good if you don't use it. So the ALC has committed first that we are going to kind of master this and start using it at a high level. And we want to have, Jason has been kind enough to do some trainings, right, Jason? And we will too. And we want to do like actual script and role play of what that would look like in a listing presentation when you're meeting with the seller and you're explaining through the data. And what we did confirm is for some of the people in the outskirts areas, you can get that data too. It's not just the 7-county metro where the bulk of the office is. We have lots of kind of satellite locations and they can pull their data. So we're really excited about it. Roll that beautiful bean footage. I don't know. What's that? I don't know.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. I should have probably It's more fun because you're at living place. So, well, yeah, let's bring on Jeremy Trask. Hey, Jeremy, can you hear us? Can you see us? Can you?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now I see me and I hear me. This is great. You guys are looking at my big old face on the screen. Scotty, that was awesome. Thank you. I had no idea that $5 a month was way too little. This is great. Prices are going up. No, she's great, and I can tell, that she gets the numbers and that it translates. And Jamie, thank you so much. So I'm going to kind of dive into it. I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully, I've got the ability to do that. Looks like I do. And I'm going to jump right into what these reports look like. Basically, this whole process, ChartMaster, what it is we are going to provide you with monthly reports, data, market reports that are going to share what's happening in the 7-county area of the Twin Cities, and also quarterly reports. I'm going to focus today on the quarterly report, but there's a ton of information that comes along with all of this. Scotty kind of hit on one particular worksheet that sums everything up, and we're going to talk. I'll show you how that works. We'll kind of walk through a scenario with that. But just understand that this report that we're looking at in its entirety is 83 pages long. So we're not going to go through 83 pages of data today. Thank God, right? Some of you are like, oh, no, please. I have to be somewhere next Tuesday. We're not going to go through all that information, but it is there for you to go through. So if you're a data junkie, if you kind of want to geek out on that, there is a ton of information in here to really gather from what's happening based on closed transactions in the greater Twin Cities area. But what I want to do is hit on a couple important key factors. I think this was sort of mentioned earlier, but these reports are provided exclusively for you. In other words, none of your competition will have these reports. I only build them for Keller Williams. Now, other Keller Williams market centers will more than likely follow your suit and start to receive them as well. But none of your competitors will ever have it. This will always be a competitive advantage for you. In other words, it's proprietary information. And I encourage you to use these reports both in your listing presentations. You can use it in marketing and promotional materials to just be the source, be the resource for your clients, be that economist of choice like Gary teaches us to do. You can use this to bolster your knowledge base of the market and your perception of that with your clients and people in the market. But I just wouldn't post the whole thing. In other words, you don't want to just like post all 84 pages up on a website somewhere, because the people that are going to be most interested in getting this are going to be your competitors, right? So understand that. The other thing you'll find out about these reports, just a quick overview. This is the greater Twin Cities area. We don't go into national information. There's plenty of resources out there for national data. One of my favorite resources that Keeping Current Matters, KCM. It's like a monthly subscription where you can get a lot of data from a national perspective. And this also is not a CMA tool. So it's not designed for you to build a CMA. We're not going to be able to drill it down, this data. We're not going to drill the data down to a specific neighborhood or street. We do have the ability to go beyond the county level, which is where we are right now, and talk about different cities or even introducing other counties. Jamie and I have talked about that as well in other markets that might be outside of this MLS. We can add another report if we have to, or if we can incorporate it into this one, we will. But there are ways to drill it down. Right now, we're just kind of doing at the county level. So you'll still need to do your market analysis, the CMA. And really, I think that this tool and what I'm going to share with you is designed from a golf perspective, to use a golf analogy, since we just had the Masters, right, is to tee up your market analysis. It's to position your market analysis instead of, like what Scotty was saying earlier, instead of that kind of battle that sometimes you feel like you go into with a seller when you're on a listing presentation. It's like, here's what I think your house is worth. And they're like, well, why did you pick that number? I think my house is worth this. And there's this contention that sometimes gets created when you start to tell them how much their house is worth. And what we want to do and what we do through this is to help them understand that ultimately it's going to be up to them to choose what their house is going to sell for, and what a buyer is willing to pay. That's what determines value. It's the only two things that are going to get a home sold, right? And the seller may choose not to sell it, and a buyer may choose not to buy it. And we'll walk through those scenarios. But it really tees up your market analysis. Here's how it works, right? We start with just the basic information. Basic data. If I were to go out on a listing presentation, here's one of the first charts I would show. And at some point, I'd have a listing conversation that goes something like this. I'm just going to use Scotty's name because she was there. I don't know if is she still in the room?
Yes.
Okay, and I can hear you, which is good, right? So I would say something like, Scotty, I know we've talked about your home a little bit, we've talked about things, but if it's okay with you, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start with what's happening in our local market right now. Is that okay? And the client's going to say, yeah, sure. All right, so here's the four basic metrics that we look at that really help us determine the market, the overall outlook of the market. Right now, median price in the first quarter of 2026 was $420,000. That's down 1.2% from where it was a year ago. So far, year to date, sales are down through March by 9.6% compared to where they were a year ago, which is very much in line with where it was 2 years ago. So ultimately, we're tailing behind the last couple of years by almost 10%. From a negotiation perspective, sellers have had to negotiate a little bit more in the first quarter of 26 than they did in the first quarter of 25 by 0.4 percentage points. Basically meaning sellers retained 98.3% of their original asking price. And it took a few days longer to sell in the first quarter of 26 than it did in the first quarter of 25. It's up 4 days to a median of 38 days on the market. But what's real important is what's happening in your price range. And then I would start to go through a conversation with Scotty that says, at the end of the day, what price range do you think you're most likely to end up in? Realistically, what are you wanting to sell your home for? And they'll give you a number. As you can see, the market's down 9.6%. Pretty much every single category of price ranges is down. We've broken this out from less than 200 to a million plus. And then we track each price range to determine which ones are being hit the hardest and is there anything that stands out in the market. So right now, if the homes are on the market between 750 and a million, there was 1% more sales than there were. Looking at the total counts, it went from 301 to 304 closed transactions. So it was up 1%. Every other market has seen a decline, right? So most sellers, when you have this conversation with them, they're going to realize, it seems like it's a little tougher this year, or it's been a little tougher in the first quarter for whatever reason, right? This is the greater Twin Cities area. So understanding that. Basically, between the homes that are on the market right now and the closed transactions that we've seen happen, that tells us what type of market we're in. Are we in a seller's market, a balanced market, or a buyer's market? Anything less than 5 months of inventory, in other words, how long would it take to sell everything that's on the market if nothing else came on the market? Right? Overall, the market's at 2.7 months. clearly a seller's market. In a seller's market, we would expect negotiations to be relatively high, 98.3%. Like I said, it's a little bit of a hit from where it was a year ago. Days on market by price range, 38 days overall, but it's different price ranges are going to be different conversations, right? So you're focused on that client's conversation. But what it really starts to get interesting is when we start to analyze price reductions. Because right now, in the first quarter, more than 4 out of 10 closings that occurred, the seller had to reduce their price before they received an offer. And here's what I mean. Here's what that looks like. You all already know this, right? The home goes on the market, nothing happens. Either they get a few showings, but they don't have an offer, or maybe they don't even get hardly any showings. And a certain amount of time goes by, and the agent and the seller decide that the best strategy to move forward to get the home sold is to reduce the price. So they do. And then it goes under contract and they get to the closing table. That happened in 4 out of 10 closings overall. And if that happened, the sellers reduced their asking price by a median of 5.7% off of their asking price. Right? And that's an increase from where it was a year ago. So what we know is that it's more likely that a home is going to need a price reduction in 26 versus 25. And if that price reduction is needed, it's more likely that it's going to be a larger amount than it was a year ago. That has an effect on the seller's ability to negotiate. Here's what I mean. Right? If basically 4 out of 10 are overpriced, that means that 6 out of 10 are priced correctly. And these red bars represent the 6 out of 10 homes that are priced correctly. Those sellers retained a median of their asking price. They basically got what they were asking. If you price it right, you get your asking price. If not, ultimately sellers negotiated all the way down to 93.1%. So almost 7% off of their asking price, which is bigger than the price reduction amount itself. And the reason being is there's about almost a 1-point penalty, an additional cost that is incurred by the seller just because they started out too high. And the reason being is you're just not in the same position to negotiate after time goes by. And here's what I mean, right? So homes that are priced correctly, the data and the market tells us they're under contract in a median of 2 weeks. The homes that ultimately required price reductions in order to attract a buyer and then finally get a contract and go to closing, they were on the market 104 days before they received an offer. And you're just not in the same position to negotiate on day 104 of being on the market as you are on day 14 of being on the market. Does that make sense? How am I doing? Can I hear you? All right. I'm going to start to kind of wrap this up a little bit. We're going to end on this worksheet. So here's the real story of the market. And I could just walk in and say, here, I want to just share with you the real story of the market. This is how Jamie would want me to do it. There were 4,464 closings that occurred in the greater Twin Cities area. The median sale to list price ratio, 98.3%, meaning sellers came off not quite 2 points, and the median days on market was 38. There's only 2 ways to get to the closing table. It was either priced correctly, which is the right-hand side of this chart, or it was overpriced, which is the left-hand side of this chart. Our goal is to make sure that you're priced correctly. There's a third layer here, though, that we haven't talked about yet, and those are homes that have been on the market multiple times. Because a lot of times, a seller will put a home on the market, and it doesn't sell. It either expires due to time, or it's pulled off the market. Strategically, usually they put it back on the market at some point, and it'll eventually sell. right? So when we factor that in, this is called the game board, by the way, and all of our charts have some unique names and there's some, just like there's Kellerisms, there's kind of like ChartMasterisms. We're going to focus on the green box listings. Green box is where you want to end up. I call this my game board because at the end of the day, every seller that closes on their home is going to end up in one of these 4 boxes. The goal is to end up in the green box. Those are sellers that win at the highest level. 2,339 sellers in the first quarter of 26 ended up in the green box. That's 52% plus of the market. Received basically their asking price as a median number, 100% sale to list price ratio, and they were under contract in 13 days, just under 2 weeks of marketing time in the first quarter. Flip side of that, then by the way, that's the highest probability of landing is in the green box based on our current market conditions. But the second highest probability is the red box, which is the worst case scenario for a seller. This is where a seller loses the absolute most money. 1,283 sellers landed in the red box. That's 28.7% of the overall market. Those sellers ultimately received 91.9% of what they were originally trying to get, and they were on the market for 134 blissful days, right? Because everybody likes to have their home on the market. 134 days. 2 vastly different outcomes. So, understanding that some homes that go on the market aren't going to sell, let's take a look at that. Right now, 35% of the homes that are on the market based as of the end of March and the data prior to that are not going to sell. That's the failure rate. And in some price ranges, when you're talking about homes over 500,000, it's almost 50%, with one exception, that's 750 to 999. So what would happen if your home didn't sell? What would you do? This is a time where you can find out the seller's motivation. Are they, well, we just rent it out. We just pull it off the market. We just stay. I guess we would probably renovate, redo the kitchen, add this, do whatever. Do they already have a contingency plan in place? Or do they say, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Not an option. We have to sell. We need to move. Right? But understanding that, if we know how many homes are going to sell, then we can put a strategy in place. Based on the data as of the end of March, out of 100 finalized listings, 35 of them didn't sell. They either expired or were pulled off the market. That listing's gone. That means that 65 out of 100 sold. And out of the 65, 42% of them had to do a price reduction. That's 27 of the 65 were overpriced. Assuming that a majority of the homes that didn't sell were overpriced, and the ones that did sell that had price reductions were obviously overpriced, it tells us that right now, as of the end of March, 62 out of 100 listings are overpriced. I heard Jamie ask the room, how many of you have a listing right now that you think is overpriced? I don't know how many hands went up, but 6 out of 10 listings that are on the market right now are overpriced. That means that only 4 out of 10 are priced correctly based on the data. And those 4 out of 10 are likely to be under contract in 14 days and sell for their asking price. And here's what I know. One of 2 things is going to happen. Either your listing is going to make someone else's look good and they're going to sell, or their listing is going to make you look good and you're going to sell. It's a competition and it's based on value. And buyers are going to choose the home that is priced correctly and is in the condition that matches up with the best value in the market. Is this making sense?
I have a question for you.
Did I ask it? Oh, sure.
Was there a question?
Yeah. So if I understood you correctly, you just said that 62% of every listings are overpriced. What percent of those have to do a price reduction to get sold?
Yeah, so
That seems awful high.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like
The
almost.
date, so if I go back to the game board, here's what I know. I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to tell you how many don't have to do a price reduction. 257, literally 257 out of the 4,464 closings that happened didn't have to do a price reduction, and were on the market multiple times. So in other words, their price was right, but the condition wasn't right, or they were kind of a unicorn in the market where they were a unique property that required a unique buyer. Everything else either sold because it was priced right, or it had to have a price reduction. In total, there were 1,868 of all of the closings that occurred that had a price reduction. And the majority of those had been on the market multiple times. 585 of the total closings that required a price reduction were able to get closed just by the price reduction itself. So in other words, if you take an overpriced listing and you know, hey, this is overpriced, but we're just going to reduce it down the road, it's more likely to lose the listing than it is to sell it by more than twofold. I don't know if that answers the question exactly, but here's all of the closings.
Real quick, Jeremy, just to address what Steve was talking about, the data that we come up with doesn't include how many times the house has been on the market, how many times it's been reduced by taking it on and off the market. So when we're doing our reports, we don't have that built in. So the numbers look different to us because it's including all those homes that took it off the market, repriced, took it off the market, repriced, and did all those. So
That's right.
Look different than what we're used to.
Yeah, we analyze because the real story isn't just the story of the most recent listing. It's the story of that seller who put it on the market 6 months ago and it didn't sell. And it was probably at a higher price and the market rejected it. They got to get it sold, so they're trying it again. And that's the story of the real market. That's why we do what we do. I pull all of the closings and all of the expired and canceled and withdrawn listings, and I run them through a macro to we match up properties that didn't sell but had been on the market before. That's where we get this information, and we're the only ones that do it. Nobody else is diving this deep. That's why this is such a powerful tool and proprietary for your use, because you've never really seen this laid out like this before. And that's why when we get down to this page, I know that if I can help you position your home against the 4 out of 10 that are on the market right now to win, you will win. But if all you do is make these green box listings look good, you're going to fall into the category of the red box sellers, either selling through price reductions after a lot more time on the market and more negotiation, or not selling at all. That's how we tee up the CMA. You've now brought your market analysis, which may not be any different than the market analysis you were bringing before using this, but you've positioned it to where these are the most important properties on the market right now. How would you position your home among these to make sure that you're the one that gets chosen by the buyer? Another way to look at it is this comes out of Shift Tactic 7. 35% of all the homes that are on the market right now are not actually in the market. They're not going to sell. And 27 will sell, but only after doing price reductions, and it takes them 104 days of total marketing time before they receive an offer. 38% of the homes that are on the market right now are actually in the market. And based on that, here's what we know. They're priced at or below their competition, and their condition is equal to or better than their competition. That's how you win in the market. It's price and condition equal value. If you're higher than everybody else and your condition is the same, buyers are going to choose the ones that are a lower price. If your condition is worse than everybody else, but your price is the same, buyers are going to choose the one that's in the best condition. You have to have both. You have to be priced at or below the competition, and the condition has to be equal to or better than the competition to ensure that you end up in the green box.
Hey,
There's
Jeremy.
some, yes.
Hey, real quick, just because there's just a few minutes left, do you have the page that calculates the holding costs?
I do. So and you can see there's these are some of the interactive charts. So for instance, I could drill this down to the price range and the county, like Dakota County. I could see what's happening just in Dakota County and pull those numbers. But here's what all this boils down to. And Scotty was talking about this a minute ago. Let's say the seller says, I heard everything you say, but I want to try it at 589.9. I just want to try it. I don't want to give it away. I want to make sure we leave some room for negotiation. I just feel like, my house is better than those, right? How many times have you heard this conversation? And a seller says, oh, I just want to try it at 589.9. That's the left-hand side of this chart. This is also an interactive chart. So let's say they said 579, I would put that in there. If they said it was a different price range, you could put in whatever price range they say. And based on that, here's what I would tell them. Well, you could try it at 589.9, and in that price range and in the greater Twin Cities area, 218 sellers already did it. They already tried it at 589.9, and it wasn't the right price. Now, it's not the exact price, but in that price range, 218 sellers already attempted that. Ultimately, it landed them in the red box because they just made everybody else look good and they helped all the other homes sell. They ultimately finally got to a price of 92.8% of what they were originally trying to get, which means they closed for $547,427. And it took them 145 days of being on the market in order to get there. On the flip side, 235 sellers priced their home correctly, in this case at $550. They got their asking price and they were under contract in 13 days. So even though the market price or the asking price was $39,900 less, those sellers actually netted $2,573 more. And they did it in 132 fewer days, which is 4.4 months of additional carrying costs on a property they don't want to own anymore. Factor in those carrying costs to the tune of $3,000 a month. That's an additional savings of $13,367. Combining that with the net difference, it means that the seller that priced their home at $550 actually put $15,942 more in their pocket than the sellers who tried it at 589.9 and failed. And then you just stop because there's nothing else. There's nothing else to say.
Question for you, Jeremy.
Yes.
Just wonder, are we tracking any data where the home sold for more than asking price?
Yes. So, and it's key information. 4 out of 10 sellers are getting their asking price or higher. This is one of the highest places, by the way, one of the highest numbers in any of the markets that we're tracking. So that's a high number. And here's what the data tells us. If it happens, it's going to happen in a median of 12 days. So guess what, folks? If you get to day 12 and you don't have an offer, you just helped 40% of your competition go under contract. So what should we do if we get to day 12 and we don't have an offer? Reduce the price. And how much did we reduce it by? Well, I'm going to give you some numbers in the monthly that tell you exactly, but the median was 5.7%. The truth of the matter is most sellers wait too long to do a price reduction, and they don't do enough of a price reduction to actually cause a sale to happen. So they chase the market all the way to the red box. Small price reduction, too late. Too small of a price reduction, too late. The data tells us that after 12 days, you know. And you probably know quicker than that in some price ranges. There's also seller concessions. Just we factor that into the mix. 50% of all the sellers pay concessions to the tune of $7,500. This is an additional part of negotiation, and it doesn't get better as time goes on. Your highest probability of sale is in week 2, 724 sellers. And that's also when you're most likely to receive your highest sale to list price ratio, even more than 100%, 101.6%. After that, sales tail off. Those are the gray bars start to slow down, and the blue bars start to show up. Those are homes that required price reductions. So for instance, on week 6, there were 224 homes that went under contract. 79 of them had already had a price reduction. But you can see very few people get the fact only 9 out of all of the homes that closed in the first 2 weeks had a price reduction. But yet the market tells us that 40% of your competition is under contract in 12 days. They're not getting it. They're waiting too long to do a price reduction and make an adjustment, and the market moves on and buys something else.
Jeremy, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Or I should say, rumor has it, is this true? Rumor has it that you're gonna come here and teach this for 2 hours? In person?
Man, I didn't know that rumor had gotten out already. I shared that with one person. So I do really enjoy sharing this, and I've created a workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop where we really just hone in on how to use these tools and how to have the conversations. We dive into some other tools, but really specifically, these are these are the first 20 pages of 80. We don't have to go through all of them. There's different stuff out there, but yeah. And I need some help. So if you guys want to be able to drill this down to more specific areas or cities, or take this, further south, like we talked about, hopefully somebody there will help me pinpoint the areas we want to do. But yeah, I'd love to come in person and do a class. Would you all like that?
Yeah. That was a lot of yeses.
Do you think it's worth $5 a month?
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth 10?
No.
All right, I thought I'd try. There's new construction stuff in here. There's big market information. Just by the way, if you think we're in a buyer's market or we're headed that way, what does that look like? A real buyer's market. Look back to 2008, 9, and 10. That's what the data looked like. I call this the American Idol chart. I'm going to end because I know you guys want to go. This is kind of fun. These are the people who think they can sing. These are the gray bars in the real estate world. Those are the listings who want to sell. But the red ones are the ones that actually can sing, or in our world, those are the ones that close every month. All I want to tell you about the market we're in right now is that the red bars are the most consistent thing in every single real estate market, regardless of whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. The red bars remain one of the most consistent things we look at, and those are the homes that close. There are always enough closings for you to reach all of your goals, but some sellers are going to struggle to get there in a buyer's market. We just happen to be in a seller's market right now. We track interest rates as well. It's all kinds of stuff. I'll stop now, though. I promise, Jamie, I'm done.
Oh, that's great. Well, you said bar, and it's time for getting hungry, and we have a cereal bar. So if we're gonna lose people if we keep going, but we're gonna send. Well, send out, will they be able to, reach out directly to you if they have a specific question?
Yes, so you'll notice on the cover page, my cell phone's actually there. My mobile number's on the cover page. You can text me, call me, reach out to me. My email address is on almost every single page. So if you want to talk about it, you have some questions, you want to just run something by me, feel free to reach out. But I encourage you to take this information. You now have it. Get together in some small groups, talk about it, role play some conversations that you might have with sellers.
Yeah, we gotta have a good game plan for that, so just wanna say thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
And for working on this project with us and helping us help our agents become even greater than they already are.
All right, I'm hoping to see you sometime soon
All right, Jeremy, thanks.
in person. Bye, everybody.
Okay, so yes, so he will be coming, and what?
Just gonna make sure everybody says hi to Marissa.
Oh.
After the meeting.
Oh, everybody say hi to Marissa after the meeting. So an email will go out Friday announcing this fully. We'll also include what just happened, a link to this, so that people can look over it again. ALC is gonna do a deeper dive into this to help us articulate this at our listing appointments. And we're gonna hit this aggressively. Because if you guys can get 1, 2, 10 more closings this year because of this tool, well, we believe you can do it. So come up and say hi to Marissa and thank you all. Oh, by the way, Captain Crunch is almost gone, so that ship's about to sail. So get you Captain Crunch. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Scotty. Can you come up now for your?
Okay, look. Nice to meet you.